Republican senators have come up with a new plan to try and get Obama to reverse his new EPA rules that we covered on the show the other day. This was a big deal. It's a massive effort to attempt to cut carbon emissions, which of course will have a positive effect in terms of climate change. It will at least slow how quickly we are going down that road. It also massively limits pollution, which has also a great turnaround effect because people that have heart disease, supposedly, according to the EPA, heart disease numbers will drop, asthma will drop. It'll save 6,600 people's lives because they get you can get very sick, have all these different respiratory problems or health issues because you're breathing in all these horrible pollutants, including, different forms of mercury. And I don't have the list in front of me right now, but there were a list of all these different things that are released by these coal plants. And with these new regulations, we're cutting back on that. So it was overwhelmingly positive, but the Republicans have found a new way to object to it. 41 Republican senators, have signed on to a letter saying, quote, "Our primary concern is that the rule as proposed," talking about the EPA rule, "will result in significant electricity rate increases and additional energy costs for consumers. These costs, as always, fall most heavily on the elderly, the poor, and those on fixed incomes." So the Republicans, they care so deeply about the poor and the old people. That's why they're against these EPA regulations. It's not because these regulations might cut into the profits of the industries that pollute, that also give money to the Republicans so they can run their campaigns. No, they're not trying to protect the industry. They really care about poor people and elderly people. That's what this is about. So what do they cite as their evidence for that claim? Well, they say, look, there's a Chamber of Commerce study, he used that term very loosely, which is, by the way, like taking the talking points directly from the coal companies themselves. Like, oh yeah, these people who will be negatively affected because it'll cut into their profits, the people who these regulations affect, they say they don't like the regulations. Oh, really? How shocking. I thought they would, do fucking cartwheels and sing under rainbows and hold hands and sing Kumbaya together because of the regulations cracking down on them. So the Chamber of Commerce, they have the study and it says, quote, "The rule would cost Americans 224,000 jobs per year, $289 billion in higher electricity costs, and result in a $3,400 increase in power costs per family." Now, there's only one problem with the results of this study. It came out before the EPA rule was even announced. I'm not kidding. Have you ever heard of a stupider objection to anything in your life? Oh, we totally can't implement this rule because we did this study on the rule and it's got all these negative consequences. Really, that's funny. The study came out before we even told you what the rule was. So how could it possibly be accurate? God, they're so stupid. The Republicans are so stupid. I mean, get this, man. That argument is so bad and those numbers are so fake that even PolitiFact, who of course bends over backwards to be kind to Republicans because they're big on this, neutrality nonsense. They don't actually just care about the facts. Rachel Maddow has gone back and forth with them a couple times on different issues. They're really not the best fact-checking organization, but every once in a while they do a decent job. Well, even they were like, okay, you're so wrong, it's painful. And just the idea that all of the sudden the Republicans care about the poor and the elderly? Spare me, man. All you need to do is follow politics for 5.5 minutes, and you'll learn very quickly that the Democrats, while they are fucked up in many ways also, they are definitely more so the party of the middle class and the poor. That's not debatable at this point. Like, all of a sudden you woke up and you care deeply about poor people and elderly people. And yeah, I bet tomorrow you'll wake up and care deeply about minority communities too, right? It's what they always do. It's the facade, man. They're just faking it. If you actually did care about the poor and the elderly, you know what you should be in favor of? How about a minimum wage hike? Only 80% of the American people say raise the minimum wage. And you say fuck off when they say that. So tell me again how you care about the poor. I can't hear you. I can't hear you over the anger of poor people and everybody that say your position sucks on the minimum wage.